Hello there, everyone. I am Shane Trejo. I am the campaign lead for the Third Term Project. So our stated goal is to ensure that President Trump can get the third term that we believe the public demands that he receive. Representative Andy Ogles of Tennessee has introduced a constitutional amendment that would amend the Constitution to allow President Trump to get a third term. Mark Ivanyo, a legal expert, will be explaining kind of the basis of how that works after I give my brief statement today. But we believe that the public needs a third term from President Trump. What he's doing already at warp speed with Doge and with making the government more efficient, going to battle with the bureaucracy, the permanent bureaucracy in Washington, D.C., that has lorded over us and strangled the economy for so long. This has been such a scourge for the American people. Trump is going to battle with them, and he's making incredible strides. But the forces of evil that he's going to war against are not going to go away. They might be dormant for a while, but they're going to be waiting to get right back in there as soon as President Trump is out of office. So we believe that with a third term, he'll be able to remake the government. He'll be able to take a wrecking ball to the bureaucracy, to the different, to the networks that operate behind the bureaucracy, and for generations to come, it will make the necessary change. Stop the deep state, stop the institutional bureaucracy, stop the administrative state, and restore freedom to the people. So that's the idea here that we're pushing with the Third Term Project. Go to thirdtermproject.com for more information. And I'm just going to have Mark Ivanyo, our legal expert, talk a little bit about the basis behind it, and before we take some questions from the media. So, Mark, go right ahead.
Thank you, Shane. So a lot of people, especially in the modern mind frame, think, well, presidents should only have 2 terms, right? That's how it's always been. Well, the truth of the matter fact is that it's not always been like that. Franklin D. Roosevelt served 4 terms as president, and then we got this 22nd Amendment. That was the impetus for it. And so we are not asking for a huge modification, actually. And we've got a lot of criticism. Well, what if we allow Joe Biden to run again? Well, I don't know if he can even tie his shoes, so that's not going to happen. But what about Obama? Obama could run again. Well, what we're asking for is a modification to the 22nd Amendment, which would be that a president can serve 2 consecutive terms and no more. So in President Trump's case, he served 1 term. The second term was interrupted, and now he has another term, and so he should be allowed to effectuate his agenda with the second term. A lot of presidents, usually when they win once, they win again. And so we're not even saying that President Trump will be president again. So if he does run in 2028, it could be that he does not elect him. We're just saying that he should have the opportunity to be elected. And so there's certainly legal precedent for it. We're going to have to get at least 2/3 majority vote in the House and in the Senate, but that's certainly possible. And it's not unprecedented that a president would run 3 terms or even 4 terms. We're just saying a third term would be ideal. And a lot of the left says they support democracy. This would be part of democracy, right? So we're just giving opportunity. If people don't vote for President Trump in 2028, so be it. But we want him to have the opportunity to run again, to continue making America great.
And do we have any questions?
Yeah, I'll ask. Jeff Hunt, 710 KNUS Salem Station in Denver. Let's talk about J.D. Vance. Do you guys believe J.D. Vance could continue Trump's legacy?
I absolutely do, but look at J.D. He's a young man. Was he barely 40? So if Trump, serves, Trump 2028 as we're pushing, if he serves 2028, J.D. will still be a very young man to serve, his 2 or maybe 3 terms in office. So we feel like, J.D. is a worthy successor. There might be some other worthy successors out there, but there's a lot of young men who will be able to serve, starting in 2032 and beyond. So we feel like, Trump is the proven commodity. Trump's really been the only guy who's been able to rise against the deep state, rise against, the institutions that were working against him. So let's go with a proven commodity. Trump, he looks, many decades younger than he actually is. So he's got the vigor to do it. So let's allow him to do it. Let's allow him to remake the country. Let's let him secure that place on Mount Rushmore that he deserves, and give him his third term. And then a younger successor like JD can take it from there.
What have you heard from other Republicans in the House with regards to this resolution being introduced?
We haven't heard much from other Republicans. They've been, sadly, they've been silent on it. Unfortunately, they've been silent on it. But from the groundswell that we've heard at CPAC, there's a huge fervor for Trump 2028. So we want the grassroots here to take that message, move it forward, and pressure the lawmakers to go on the record as they should. And support this, starting with the more conservative members of the House. There's no reason why they shouldn't be on the board. And then more moderate members, we can hopefully pressure them and get them to sign on to Representative Ogle's amendment in the future.
Yeah, I think just because there's not a lot of necessarily official endorsement for it doesn't mean that there isn't support. And I think that Representative Ogles came out with the initial action, and so people are supporting it. And we're going to see more gathering around it as the grassroots support it. It'll go from the grassroots level up, and so that's what we're hoping for, and that's what we're expecting.
And have you heard from President Trump on this idea?
Not officially, but he has said that if the people call for a third term and want a third term, and the rules are changed, and that there's an amendment that comes in or something like that, that he would step up to the plate. So we anticipate, if we're successful, that Trump will step up to the plate and get his rightful third term.
Why are you portraying Trump as Julius Caesar?
Well, we believe that Trump is the Caesar figure that America has needed. Trump is the Napoleonic figure that has emerged to lead our country out of perdition and into greatness. So we're putting that out there. Trump as Caesar. We think it's a great great optics. So we love the idea of Trump as our Julius Caesar type figure. We're going to be pushing that hard for weeks and months to come.
A lot of people on the left would criticize Trump as like a wannabe dictator or something like that. Do you feel like you're playing into their hands with that kind of branding?
Well, some leftists might get triggered. They might get angry at stuff like this, but we think that's part of the fun. So we're playing into that, and we think that the Trump as Caesar optic is something that is going to help us get more notoriety around this idea that can save our country.
And by the way, we can't take the left seriously when it comes to that. They called George W. Bush a Nazi. He was the next coming of Hitler. And so they're going to call any Republican, anyone to the right of George Bush, a Nazi, etc., dictatorial, authoritarian. So we don't take that seriously at all, and neither should any conservative.
And we think what Trump is doing with DOJ, and he's cutting down the bureaucracy in Washington, D.C., we think with that, he's showing that he's not a dictator. He wants to give more freedom to the people. He wants to decentralize power and decentralize authority, and that's the agenda that he'll take into his third term, not centralizing power and giving more power to the bureaucracy. He's taking power away from the bureaucracy, giving it to the people, and that's the agenda we support.
You mentioned specifically the 2/3 vote threshold that this would need to pass in both the House and the Senate. What is a potential message for Democrats to get on board with this to get you to those votes?
Well, we hope that there's just such a groundswell that they, I don't think they're going to come on board, in a fashion where they're going to openly adopt something like this. But if the groundswell reaches that fever pitch, they might have to. They might realize that we're not going to get elected, re-elected in our places, in our different districts, unless we do the right thing and give President Trump his third term. So we understand it's going to take a lot of groundswell. It's going to take a lot of work, but we feel like if and there's enough people in the grassroots who are demanding it, they'll be forced to get on board.
Well, also, if people on the left support democracy, this would be part of democracy, right? It's not guaranteeing a third term for President Trump. It's guaranteeing an opportunity for him to run for a third term. And so the people could, for sure, say, well, we don't want Trump anymore. We're tired of his policies and him. We're going to elect someone else. So this is just up to the people, and that's what we're having.
Are you worried that if we extend 3 terms, 4 terms, 5 terms, it could create a situation for any president of something not letting him?
Well, just to be clear, we're not talking about extending it to 4, 5, 6 terms. We're simply saying that if you have not had 2 consecutive terms, you're allowed a third term. And so President Obama, for example, would not be able to run because he ran 2 consecutive terms. President Trump had his term interrupted. We believe it was stolen, but whatever people want to believe, he did not get a second term, and so now he has the second term. He should be able to have a consecutive term. But yeah, it doesn't open the door for 4, 5, 6 terms. Any more questions?
Yeah, by the way, so are you guys connected directly inside of the cabinet or have contacts that this would be an official bid for a third term? Or are you guys just trying to raise awareness as activists?
Raising awareness as activists right now. Trump has brought up that if the public demands it and the rules are changed, such as with Representative Andy Ogle's amendment that's been proposed that Trump would step up to the plate. So we are confident that he would step up to the plate if we get to that point. We have not been in contact with officially with the administration. We're building the grassroots groundswell that will lead eventually to President Trump's third term.
Are you looking towards any precedent at the state level where governors have served non-consecutive terms?
Not necessarily, but we are interested, if possible, for Article 5 convention of the states to enact the third term project. So we're looking at every available avenue to get this done.
Why not 4 terms? I'm just wondering, like, why would you stop there? Why would anyone believe that you're stopping on a third term?
I mean, I like I said earlier, I have no problem with that as long as it goes to a fair democratic vote. So we want to make sure that we protect the integrity of elections, so that, you know, if the public says we don't want a third term of Trump, he may have that option. But if the public does not want him, that's not something we want to force. But we do, you know, I personally believe that, you know, he should be allowed to run. That, you know, presidential term limits, they were not in the initial or original version of the Constitution put in by the Founding Fathers. It came about later. So I'm about preserving the original intent of the Constitution. But but first things first, let's go for the third term and then see how it goes from there.
Yeah, as I mentioned, it's a limited modification. It's simply about allowing a third term. It's not to say that anything else is off the board, but the criticism is usually, well, what about Obama? He could run for a third term too. Well, no, we're just saying that you should be allowed as a president to have 2 consecutive terms, and so that would not apply to Obama or really any other recent president. It would only apply to President Trump, who had his second term interrupted because the election was stolen, as we believe. If someone believes otherwise, that's fine, but we want him to have 2 consecutive terms to be able to effectuate his agenda and make America great again.
Without some kind of constitutional amendment.
It would require a constitutional amendment.
Yeah, Representative Andy Ogles has introduced a resolution that would amend the Constitution. That's what we're rallying support around right now.
So that seems like a very long shot that could ever get approved.
Well, some people said that Trump winning in 2016 was a long shot. Trump coming back and winning in 2024 was a long shot.
You would need Democratic support in order to do that.
And Trump, you see the Democrats in Trump's administration, former Democrats, I should say, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard. So we are seeing a shift in political consciousness, and we hope to apply that to the Congress as well in getting this passed.
Sorry if I missed the beginning, but can you just talk about like your organization, who you are, like what is this initiative part of the organization?
The Third Term Project, so you can check us out at thirdtermproject.com. We're a coalition of various groups that are pushing the Representative Andy Ogles' amendment, proposed a resolution to amend the Constitution. So you can check us out and see more about us at thirdtermproject.com. We're going to be releasing a white paper in the upcoming days to create more of an academic basis for the Third Term Project. So you can check that out and see what we're doing there.
Are you in touch with Andy Ogles?
We have made overtures to him, and we do hope to be able to get him more engaged in this in the future. He definitely know he's interested in pushing this idea and getting it out there and getting more support behind him. And that's where we're going to start with the conservative lawmakers in the House, and then broaden our reach from there to get more broad support.
Last one, sorry, I'm dominating. Trump has several times kind of made a joke about running for a third term. Do you think that those are jokes, or do you think that he's serious?
I think that if we're successful in our goals, we build the groundswell of support, we get the necessary support for the idea, I do think that Trump will step up to the plate. I can't say what's in his mind or what's in his heart, but I do think that if the public demands it, he'll keep draining the swamp for another 4 years.
Are you interpreting those comments as a joke, though, or as sort of like that?
I think that if the public demands it, Trump will step up to the plate. I can't talk to whether he was joking or not, but I think if the public demands it, he will step up to the plate and run for a third term.